Hi there, Shelly K here, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate a number of looping, husking, and wheat ear type of techniques. This is the alternate side looping with multiple strips. There's actually 6 strips in each of these pieces, which is quite a few, but that's the effect I wanted in this particular piece. We'll start off with something a little bit simpler and work our way right up to that. So we need to start with a strip of quilling paper. This is standard 1/8 inch quilling paper. I'm going to trim the ends. I know a lot of people rip their paper or tear their paper, but I generally trim. So in a wheat ear, it's just a matter of looping and gluing and looping and gluing. So now I'm going to go right around what I just made and make a larger loop and glue it. I keep twisting it because that's what feels comfortable to me. You may or may not need to do that. I'm going to loop it again and glue it. And you can control how much space is between each of your loops there. That's what gives you a little bit of freedom in this method, and perhaps that's the look you're going for. So when you've reached your desired number of loops or length or whatever you might be designing with, you can trim off the bottom or tear if you're one of those people, and I always use these self-closing tweezers to help me pinch things shut at the end. And you can shape this however you'd like. You can, pull it real narrow. Something like that could be used. Feathers in a bird, it can be used for grass in a field. So that's just your basic wheat ear. Now we're going to do an alternate side looping. I'll set that one aside. Alternate side looping wheat ear. So we need more paper. And I'm going to trim trim the end. So for the alternate side looping, you're going to go first make your center loop, however large you would like to make your center loop. Generally, if I make these, I make a larger center loop and then smaller cascading down on each side. So I'm going to start with the large center loop there. Now, you're going to see where you glued right there, just like you did with the wheat ear, but instead of going around the same way, you're going to go next to it in kind of an opposite direction and glue. I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on that opposite side. That's the alternate side part of the alternate side looping. I'm going to turn it again, and you can continue this process. Paper's a little misshapen there. For as many loops as you feel that you need in your project. Turn it around again. I find that when you're making this type of loop, it's better to hold the paper kind of broad like that instead of, oh, see, that didn't glue. Instead of pinching it at the bottom, because what pinching at the bottom does, and I've kind of showed it here, is it doesn't allow that bottom loop to open all the way, and it tends to pinch, where you've got almost like a stem at the bottom. And then that's okay too, depends on what you're quilling for. So I'm going to finish this last loop and then show you the next steps. You can, looks about the same there, you can leave it as is, you can pinch it and pull it as is into whatever shape you'd like. Most books or most instructions show that you're going to pinch it around one more time and wrap it. Then you can shape it a little bit more, wrap it just like that, get it where you want it, and then glue your bottom. Now, this kind of alternate side looping could be used as a petal, a leaf, a butterfly wing, a feather, however you'd like to shape it. You can get real pretty up there if you want to. Squeeze it real thin. You can keep it kind of wide. It depends on the look you're going for. So that is your alternate side looping. We're going to do that one more time and add a couple extra strips, add a couple extra colors. Now we're going to make it look like something really cool. So let's go for broke and do all 4 colors here. Perhaps I should have had this prepared for you, but I'll be as quick as I can here. So what I'm doing is I'm getting 4 colors of quilling paper. So this is going to be awfully large, kind of like the one I showed you in the first example. So here we go with 4 different colors. Now we're going to glue those together, all flush at the end if you can. So I'm going to get in between each layer here, just a little bit of glue, starting it off. Trying to stay in the center of my frame here. Alright, so this is what you're going to be alternately looping with. But before gluing at the bottom, you're going to be pulling and then gluing. So we'll start. I always kind of run my fingernail down here to keep it forming in the direction that I want, because it's kind of tricky to keep these in check. I'm going to make this awfully large so you can kind of see what I'm going for, but you can start your center loop as small as you'd like. So here we go again. We'll start our loop right about there. Now before I glue at the bottom, I'm going to pull. So I'm going to leave my outside blue layer alone and pull the other 3. Then I'm going to leave the next layer alone, that green one, and pull. And then leave the red one and only pull the purple. So you can see how I've got 4 different loops and 4 different colors, 4 different lengths there. The trick is, using these tiny glue bottles, getting in between each layer every time. So it's going to get a little bit bulky at the bottom, and you got to really watch how much glue you use so that you don't have a big mess when you're finished. So now I flip it because that's what's comfortable for me. And this whole tail is going to go up and around. My paper's a little creased there. And like I said in the other one, I like to have it cascade down a little bit. So I'm going to start this one at the length or the height of that green loop. So now I'm going to leave that outside purple alone, pull down the other 3, then 2, and I'll pull that one way down there. And glue in between each of those little layers. I like to use this method when making earrings, dangly type of earrings. So I'm twisting it again, I'm going over to the other side, I'm going to do the same thing that I did there where I am at here. So I'm pulling it down to about the level of that green one, leaving the outside loop alone, pulling 3, then pulling 2, and pulling that smallest one into the center there. Getting my fingers adjusted to glue in between. Like I was saying, I like to use this for earrings. The only thing you got to watch is trying to make 2 that are identical in size, but it's not too difficult. Alright, I'm going to stop for a second and kind of show you what we've got here. What I like about this is how you've got a blue and a blue, green, green, red, red, but it's kind of making its own pattern. Here these 2 sides match, this one doesn't. If I kept going, it's going to keep changing around on you because of the order that you're flipping these in. So I'm going to leave it as is. Now we're going to wrap all the way around it. First I'm going to give it a little bit of shape, because that's kind of the shape I want to go for. And I'm going to wrap the whole thing. This is where you really have to keep a hang on your papers there. Okay. The purple one just doesn't want to play. Play nice. Okay. That still doesn't want to play nice. There we go. Nope. Alright, there we go, there we go, there we go. You can see how it's a little bit tricky at this point. So I'm going to keep tugging, giving it a little bit of shape, giving it a little bit of point at the bottom. Give it a little more tug. And you're gluing between every one of those layers again. And that'll finish it off. So, there you have it. That's alternate side looping with multiple strips. You could do that all in the same color and you just have basically what this first one was, but with lots of more loops on the inside. I'm going to leave that aside and show you the difference now between these alternate and these looping and wheatear patterns compared to husking or using the pins. So, what I'm going to start with here is just a straight line pattern for you. What we're going to end up making is almost exactly this, but in using graph paper, you're really keeping your loops uniform. So here I'll put my starting point, and I'll go up every 2. See how high we can go there. To start with, you'd really think I would have had this planned out better, but I'm not real good at making these videos yet. I'm interested to see how this camera shot turns out. It's a brand new camera. So, with your strip at the end, you're going to pinch the very, very bottom and make the very tiniest loop that you possibly can, almost like a hook or a point there. Give it just a dab of glue, and you're going to stick a pin through that tiny, tiny loop you just made. That's basically what's anchoring your wheatears, your loops. So, start that in the first pin. Add another pin and wrap it around. It's entirely the same process, but you're not holding it in your hands, you're just keeping it flat on the paper. Add a pin, wrap it around. You can kind of see how this one keeps it a lot more narrow than the other piece was. Keeps it real skinny to begin with, and you don't have to squeeze it down when you're done. Okay, when you get to that bottom there, just glue. And I'm going to use those tweezers again so that it dries just for a sec. And while it's doing that, we're going to make a pattern for our next husking shape. So say you wanted to just do petal shape. So I'm going to go from here, this will be my starting point. I'm just drawing this freehand, we'll see how it goes. Here to here, and then make it kind of symmetric if you can. Okay, now you need a point at the end, probably 1 or 2 points in the middle. Let's just go with 1 for right now. And now what you need is you need points on the edges that will touch that outside edge. So I'm going to do one here and here. Let's keep them fairly uniform. Here and here. That's not too uniform. And maybe down and down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up and around, Then we're going to go to the opposite, 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 and then wrap it. And like we did with the alternate side looping, it's very much the same thing, but with the graph paper, you're able to control your shape a little bit more, and you'll be gluing these outside points to your wrapping, so you'll see how that affects the shape when you're finished. So let's take this wheat ear off. I never knew how to say that. Wheater, wheatear, wheatear. Some people say all different things. I'll tear that for you there. But there's the same looping wheat ear that you started with, but this one was on pins, this one was freehand. So if you're going to make a bunch, I would suggest doing it on the with the pins so that you can keep your sizes uniform if that's what you're looking for. Let's make this husking shape real quick here. Grab some more paper. Alright, so starting the same way, you're going to make the tiniest little loop that you possibly can and glue it shut and stick a pin in it to start with. So that will be our starting point right there. And our second point, you can go ahead and put all the pins in to begin with. I don't generally. It doesn't make much of a difference. Okay, so I'm going to glue here, go around the top, and always come back to that bottom and just a tiny, tiny bit of glue. So now I'm on my left. I'm going to hold the paper up here while I stick the pin in its first spot. Well, not first, but 1, 2, 3, fourth spot, however you want to number them. Glue at the bottom and hold it while you're sticking your pin in here. And, oh, not glue, a pin. I don't know how to edit videos yet, so you're getting the full cut here, and I'm trying really hard not to make mistakes or drop things or make extra sounds and such. Coming around, and you always want to try to keep this, flush so that they're not working up on each other, to keep it all level there. One more and we'll wrap it. You can wrap it 1 or 2 times. It depends what you want to do. You could trim this right here, glue on another color, and wrap it with a different color. You can just wrap it until your paper runs out, that also. Now I'm going to go around here with the glue around the outside of every pin so that it's got a little something to grab onto. And what I just noticed when I wrap that is I'm not going to get that rounded shape that I wanted unless I really held it in a poof like that. But for this, I like to pull them real tight. That's just me. I guess I'm going to wrap this again. Oh, let's wrap it again. Oh, see, I let go. And that will be a husked type of shape. It's an alternate side looping thing, but you're getting a very specific shape when you use the pins. And what I like to do with these, if I can find my example, is you can use these shapes, and what I consider these to be a vase. You can get real curvy and fancy there if you want to, and then put that on your piece and flowers all over the place. So I'm gonna let go of that, take out the pins, show the result, and call it a day on this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope I was clear in my instruction. And if you have any questions, feel free to Facebook me or message a comment or something like that. I don't like that very much. I think just because I was rushing and I was kind of freehanding it, it's kind of looks a little lopsided to me. But you can be very technical, you would have to be if you're going to make something that's going to match up end to end like that. So happy quilling. Till next time. Bye.